All right, guys, what's going on? Justin from 79 Productions. Today, I'm at my buddy Jesse's house, and we are going to be working on his, well, it's a hatchback, but it's not a hatchback. Jesse, come tell him what you did to this thing real quick. So, he's been working on this thing. He's K Swapped it. Now, what is it, a 97 hatchback?
99.
Civic? 99 Civic hatchback, and I'm going to let Jesse tell you what he did to it.
So me and my guys cut the front frame horns off, rear support, the roof, quarters, doors, about 1.5 feet off the rear, and then we bent and formed our own doom buggy.
Now, before everybody asks, why'd you cut up a hatchback? What was the reason for cutting this thing up?
I bought this car, had like $250 in it. It had a turbo single cam. It was rear-ended and messed up about 1.5 feet of the rear and the front frame horns.
So from what, past the
It was a little before the control arm mount.
So what size tubing is this? What all did you guys do to it?
This is 1.5 inches. We bent everything here with my bender. One of my guys, the two guys I have work with me, they're both fab guys and welders. So we made a design in our head and started bending bars, putting them in a little bit at a time till we got to where we liked it.
And guys, this thing is not done, but they've been working on this thing, getting it done. It's still in the garage. I'm gonna get a couple of shots when this thing gets out. But for right now, today, we are gonna be putting suspension on. I got max speed and rod coilovers. We got the camber kits, front and rear camber kit, and lower control arms. So when they painted this thing, they set it up on jack stands to get all of that painted and everything. So they took the suspension off. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be putting coilovers and the camber kits on so we could get this thing and make it a rolling chassis again. But before we do that, Jesse's gonna go through and paint some of this stuff, and we're gonna get that done, and yeah, that's gonna be it. But if you guys see, that thing is K Swap. Tell them a little bit about the K Swap.
Of course, you know, got to do it on a budget. So I bought a Rec EP3, running and driving. So everything was good on it. I pulled it out. I saved absolutely everything I could from that car to save on costs. As far as like even the throttle cable will work, hooks up perfect.
Now this is the EP3 throttle cable, yes, you use?
EP3. RX6, you can use them too, work just like OEM. The heater hoses I'll cut down and make work. It's got EP3 axles, budget motor mounts. They fit great for the money.
What the motor mounts run for?
$105 shipped to the house. EP3 are electrical power steering, so they already come with a power steering delete from the factory. And when you're running no AC, you just get a shorter belt. Everything clears. I've ran multiple setups like this, no issues at all. When the car first comes out, it's going to be all motor. It'll actually be on a factory ECU. I'll wire in the immobilizer and key, so it'll run like an OEM 03 Honda EP3.
Now, what'd you do? I know you were saying you did something to the rack, or you have to use a different subframe, right?
Yeah, so when you run the cheap motor mounts, they call for EG rack when you have an EK chassis. So a 96 to 2000 chassis, you have to run a DC or EG subframe. I couldn't find a subframe that was manual rack, which this car was a manual rack. So Justin actually had one laying around in his backyard. I picked it up. I picked up a conversion mount to go manual rack and a new manual rack. It was like less than $100 in the conversion piece and the new rack.
Now, where's that conversion piece go?
It goes right here. So I actually have another one. Let's see.
Now, guys, this video, I've never done a K swap. Jesse's been working on his car, and I said, let me come film this thing. I don't know much about doing K swaps, but Jesse's done a ton of them, and he gets these things done cheap. I don't know how much, I don't know how he does it so cheap, but what do you think you got into this one right now?
I bought the Rec EP3 running and driving with good mileage on it for $1,300. I've parted out that EP3 because there was a lot of good stuff on it. I'll end up having nothing in the swap once that's done.
Now, if you didn't part out, what do you think it would be?
It just depends on like how you're willing to dig and find the parts that you need. Of course, EP3 and RXX and is going to be the cheapest when it comes to like transmission because of the motor mounts. The Accord is the cheaper transmission, but the motor mounts cost more. So it kind of equals out to like the same, but I like to start with RXX or EP3 transmission, either base model or Type S, either one. And then motor, Accord K24, they're great motors to begin with. My biggest thing is for people is to get the motor in the car and get it running. You can upgrade, put a TXX motor or build you a motor on the side. Once it's running, the hard work's over with. You can start upgrading as you want to. 6-speed transmission, a better engine, intake, aftermarket, whatever you want to do, you can go from there.
So now, as far as this, he's got nothing into this after he parted out the car. But now some of you guys are gonna, oh, well, you can't, we can't part out a car, we can't do all of that. This video is not for you guys. If you don't have the space to do this, the know-how, it's probably gonna be a little harder finding, a little more expensive finding stuff at the junkyard. But this is for, he does it the cheapest way I've seen, and this is for those guys who want to go get stuff cheap. If you don't want to do that, this is for you guys that want to save money and get it done cheap. He's got nothing into this after he parted the car out, but and you said the car was what, $1,300?
$1,300.
Yeah, $1,300 for a wrecked EP3, and some of you guys are gonna say you can't find that, but the one before that, what did you spend on that one? The RSX, that was way cheaper than this, wasn't it?
It was $1,100.
Yeah, he's found them even cheaper than that. Now, these are base model cars. One time you found a Type S cheap, too.
I bought two Type S. One was $400, and it ran, motor and transmission was great, but the car was just rough. Interior seats was garbage. The body panels was garbage, but it did run and drive, and I bought it for $400. It was $450 delivered. So I paid $50 to have it delivered, and it was a Type S, ran and drove great. The other one, I think I paid $500, but it was $250 because it was a little bit away to have it delivered. But it was low miles. It had like 120 miles on it, 120,000 miles. And it was a clean car. They thought something happened to it. Transmission they thought was bad, and it ended up just being a clutch. So I was able to put a clutch kit in the car and had a beautiful running Type S 6-speed swap.
Now, for you guys that's gonna say you cannot find these that cheap, this is probably his 10th to 15th K swap. He's done a number of these things and he finds them cheap. I'm gonna be trying to do one in the future, but like I said, this is the first time with me seeing the process of this being done. So, you know, Jesse's gonna help me out when I get all my stuff ready. But, you know, for right now, this is where he's at. We're gonna come back and try to record some of the wiring and stuff being done, because that's a whole separate thing and he's gonna be doing all of that. But for today, we need to get this thing, we need to make it a rolling chassis. That way he can get it out of here, because he's got another CRV he's gonna be working on. So we're gonna go ahead and he's gonna start painting some of this stuff to kind of fit the theme of the car, and we're gonna get to that right now. All right, guys, here goes the Max Peden Rods T6 coilovers. Here's their front camber kit, their rear lower control arms, and their rear camber kit. Now, so he's gonna paint all of this stuff. I wanna say he's going with a hammer paint. That way it doesn't chip since it's suspension stuff. He's gonna paint this, and I don't think he's gonna paint the coilovers, because the coilovers are black and yellow. So the coilovers look pretty good, but he wants to paint this stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get to that. All right, guys, so right now he just took the screws off the camber kit and he's taking the ball joint out. That way he could paint around it and not mess with the ball joint. But we're getting ready to sand and prep this thing and just kind of taking it apart to get it ready for paint. All right, guys, so we got these things taped up where we don't want to get paint. Gonna scuff them up real quick and put some paint on them. All right, guys, so he's just scuffing this up before we paint it, and just gonna scuff it up, wipe it down, and these things are ready for paint. So we got these apart and we're just gonna paint the center section of it, and he's sanding and prepping right now, and we're almost ready to start painting. Guys, got these things hanging up, just gonna clean them off and wipe them down and spray some paint. Well, he's gonna do adhesion promoter, then he's gonna do paint. All right, guys, so he just put a quick coat of adhesion promoter, and now he's gonna go ahead and put the hammer paint on it. First coat, guys, he's putting a light tack coat. Get it to stick on there. I think that hammer paint's gonna look good with the sand color.
I think so too.
What's the color of the car?
Quicksand tan. It's a factory Toyota color. I mixed up with the Raptor liner.
Now this is like a bronze.
Like a bronze brown color.
Hammer paint. Alright, so we're getting ready to throw the T6 coilovers on. We got the front. This is going to be pretty easy because he's already got the suspension off this thing. It's already up on jack stands, and basically we need to put the coilovers on so the car can move. So we're just gonna go ahead and slide these things in and get everything situated, but it's gonna be fairly easy to do this. All right, guys, so we're getting ready to put the T6 coilovers on, and basically we're gonna take the upper control arm off first. Just gotta take that one nut off there, and then there's one bolt here and one on the other side, and it comes off. It's fairly easy to take this off, quick and simple. Now that those two bolts are off, this thing should just drop right out. Pull it out, and that's it. And now we could go ahead and set the coilover in there. Now to do the bottom, we're just gonna push the suspension down to get that fork over it. And then you just gotta lift the suspension back up, and it's good to go. Come up more, down?
Go down just a little bit. Go up just a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more.
There it goes. All right, guys, so we got the upper control arms painted, it's dried, and he's gonna put them on. So yeah, it's real easy to put them on. Just slide them in. Now they're just gonna slide in to those little slots. All right, guys, so they're just gonna bolt in. They're gonna slide in through the little slots, and then they're gonna just bolt in on the front side and the back side, and that's it. He's just gonna go ahead and put that top, the capsule nut on, and then this is done. All right, guys, so we got the front suspension on, got the coilovers on, upper control arms. And now that we're done with this, we're gonna go ahead and put the wheel on, then move to the back. All right, guys, so we're just gonna take all the back suspension off now. Taking the camber kits off. All right, guys, so we're putting the camber kit on, and it's just gonna be 2 bolts into the car, into the body of the car, and then 1 into the trailing arm. and it's pretty easy. It's already got that in, and we're gonna keep all this stuff. He's putting it on hand tight, and then we'll bolt it down later. So we're going to take the lower control arm off now, and it's just 14mm bolts. Alright guys, so we're putting in the rear lower control arms, and it's just 3 bolts that holds these in. We already took the other one off. It was a little bit of challenge, so we stopped filming. And we just coming back and gonna put this on now, and got that one bolt in, and gotta set the other bolt in, and then we could put the coilovers on. Alright guys, so we're going to put the rear coilovers on, and we already got the control arms on and the camber kit, and we're just going to go ahead and throw these things on. I'll tell you, it's so much easier filming with this thing because, you know, you could kind of see through everything, but yeah, there we go. Now he's going to go ahead and set that, that last bolt in. You got it, or you need me to get it?
Probably gonna have to
I'm gonna have to lift this thing up real quick.
Come down a little bit. A little bit more. Up. Alright. Now this.
Alright guys, so we're done with the rear. He painted those lower control arms. The camber kit. I think all of this looks good together. What do you think about the colors?
Oh, I like it. I think it's gonna look good rolling down the road.
Alright guys, so he's gonna put the wheels on right now. And what's the specs on these?
They're staggered. So it's a 15 by 9 in the rear, and then 15 by 8s up front. There's 0 offsets.
So 15 by 9 in the rear, 15 by 8 in the front, and both are 0 offset?
Yes, sir.
Now guys, there's no real way to see how something like this would fit on your car because he ain't got no quarter panels or fenders, so this is just a kind of wide look he wanted to go for this car.
Make it look like a little go-kart.
Alright guys, so we got this thing down on the ground and it's looking great. Jesse's gonna go ahead and play with the camber kit and get everything sitting right, but for the most part, got all the suspension work done, and this thing got the wheels on it, and it's looking pretty good. What you think, Jesse?
I like it. Ready for it to go down the road.
All right, guys, so we got the car on the ground. Jesse's super excited about it. Now, I'm gonna come back and film more of it. He's waiting on some swap parts to come in, like the harness, and there's some other stuff, but once he gets all of that stuff in, he could get the car fired up and everything and get it going. So right now we're gonna be trying to take a road trip in the end of March. He's taking his K Swapped Civic, the buggy, and I'm taking my red Civic, and we're shooting to get this hatchback done. So we're gonna probably be taking 4 cars out there. Jesse's gonna be taking his Civic, his wife's CRV, we're taking my brother's hatchback, my red Civic, the coupe. So we've been working on 4 cars, and he's over there at his house working, and I'm here at the shop working, and trying to get a lot done in a little bit of time. So hopefully we can get them done. We're going to be taking that road trip to a car show in the end of March. I don't want to say the name yet because I'm not 100% sure if everything's going to be happening. But for all of you Honda guys, you probably know what I'm talking about. So, but we're going to be shooting for the end of March to get these things on the road. Super excited about that, guys. Big shout out to Max Speeding Rods for hooking it up with the suspension parts. If you want a discount, use coupon code 79th at Max Speeding Rods. They got a lot of stuff for cars on their website. Go check them out. But guys, that's going to be it for this one. Just want to give you guys an update on stuff we're working on. I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at 79th Productions and Facebook at 79th Productions. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. God bless you guys.